This week, many people heard about the return of the dire wolf. A scientist has resurrected the extinct dire wolf for the first time in 12,000 years. Now, the story's actually substantially worse than this. They did not resurrect the dire wolf. Everybody wants that to be the headline because the story about De-Extinction is shocking and appealing. I think that if they ran with the real headline, scientists genetically modify existing wolves to be larger and more dangerous, nobody would really want to click on that. But the story is actually substantially more terrifying. Now, it's really cool. It is cool that what they did was they genetically engineered a couple of wolves to have the traits of the dire wolf, a larger, older wolf species. That is from 12,000 years ago, it went extinct. All they really did was modify, I think it was on 20 genes to make regular old wolves a little bit bigger. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it. Now, the narrative, of course, as I mentioned, is that they de-extincted the dire wolf, but they really genetically modified it in a way that could open the door and change the game in genetic modification. Meaning they could theoretically do this to humans, pinpointing key genes in humans and doing gene editing, just like the movie Gattaca. Have you guys seen it? Basically, all babies are genetically modified. And the main character's not. He has to lie about it, whatever. You're a second-class citizen if you're a natural-born human. Most people are perfect. Their genes are assessed in the womb, and then they can modify your genes through CRISPR technology. And then when you're born, you're perfect. No genetic disabilities, no genetic disorders, perfect height, chiseled features, perfect everything. Here's what they report in the Daily Mail. Scientists have announced the first de-extinction of an animal species, reintroducing the dire wolf back into the world. Colossal Biosciences, a genetic engineering company, birthed 3 dire wolves, Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi, in honor of a legendary creature made famous from the HBO. Legendary creature? Khaleesi was the woman. Sure. However, the white-coated wolf once roamed the North and South America before vanishing 12,000 years ago, likely to disappearance of their prey. The company extracted DNA from fossil remains, which was combined with the genetic code of a gray wolf, the closest living relative. Colossal CEO and co-founder Ben Lamb said in a statement, "Our team took DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull and made healthy dire wolf puppies. Technically, they're more like hybrids. The team then cloned high-quality cell lines using somatic cell nuclear transfer into donor egg cells, which involves taking the DNA out of the cell from a donor, in this case, a body cell. The embryos were then transferred to a surrogate, which gave birth to 3 healthy puppies in October of 2024. Crazy. So, okay, it's kind of a dire wolf, but come on. This is the premise of Jurassic Park, mind you, where they took frogs and then combined the DNA they got from a mosquito. Yikes. Colossal made headlines last month when it created a woolly mouse by engineering rodents to grow thick, warm coats using mammoth DNA. However, the company's ultimate goal is to bring the woolly mammoth back from extinctions. Now, the crazy thing about the woolly mammoth is that we actually have frozen woolly mammoth with matter in their stomachs. The crazy thing is, the woolly mammoths we found have plant matter still in their stomach, undigested, indicating they were flash frozen. That means they were frozen very quickly. Some have argued this means there was a very rapid shifting of the poles, and then the equator, or the areas of the North and South Pole, which used to be the equator, instantly started to get very, very cold. I wonder then why the mammoths are woolly, however. Did they need to be covered in thick furs or whatever if it was warm? I don't know. Joe Rogan accuses biotech billionaire of playing God. Rogan raised ethical questions about de-extincting animals. They go to mention what happened. Rogan said that if he were grilling the CEO, he would ask, what right do you have to invade the natural process of nature and inject your curiosity and your ability to create new life? I agree with Joe. You were too busy wondering whether or not you could. You never stopped to ask whether or not you should, which is the famous line from Jurassic Park. The CEO said that humans have become the apex predator of the world, essentially changing everything we see around us. We overfish the ocean. We overhunt something. In the case of the Tasmanian tiger, the Australian government put a bounty on its head and killed it off. We cut down the rainforest. Every time we drink hydrogenated water, we're playing God on some level. Interesting. Wow. Man, that's crazy. and they put them, Romulus and Remus, on the Iron Throne. On Monday, Colossal Biosciences announced that it successfully birthed 3 direwolves. This we know. The trio is now 5 months. They were born in October, but the CEO said he and his team were surprised by the results. We didn't know this. They have this beautiful, mane-like quality to them. And when they're babies, their fur almost feels like polar bears. Rogan joked by calling the pups nature's cute little murderers. Lamb said the wolves are starting to exhibit behaviors of their species, like hunting and socializing. Man, this is crazy. He also revealed the company plans to make 2 or 3 more. However, critics believe Colossal Biosciences is wasting time and funds on the effort. Dr. Patrick Weber, a scientist at Bern University in Switzerland, said on Blue Sky, "Do we have the right to play God? De-extinction is fascinating, but risks creating dangerous illusions that we can undo the damage we've done. Limited funds are a struggle. We should focus on habitat protection, anti-poaching, and keeping species from vanishing." But I would stress beyond this, my friends. The bigger question that I have is not whether or not de-extincting is the issue. It's the open door of genetic modification in its entirety. How far away is it that someone will start doing gene editing of their babies? And I'm willing to bet it's already happening. We've got reports over the past, I think it's now going on 10 years, about China genetically engineering their young people into super soldiers. You know what? Let me pull this one up. The Chinese super soldier program. No joke. Let's pull it up. Here we go. When's this story from? We've got this NBC News report going back to 2020. China has done human testing to create biologically enhanced super soldiers, says top U.S. official. And this wasn't the first time we heard the story. And I'm going to ask you right now, why would you argue they're not doing it? Do we really think that as they've got these coronavirus laboratories, they're not genetically engineering people? They don't have the same moral constraints the U.S. has. The U.S. has got religious, faith, and moral tradition. U.S. intelligence shows that China has conducted human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in hope of developing soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities. John Ratcliffe, the director of national intelligence, included the explosive claim in a long Wall Street Journal op-ed, in which he made the case that China poses the preeminent national security threat. There are no ethical boundaries to Beijing's pursuit of power, wrote Ratcliffe, a Republican and former member of Congress. Mind you, now he is, again, I believe, John, he's head of the CIA, isn't he? Let me make sure I get that one right. Because he was DNI, but now I believe he's the director of the CIA. I was correct. So going back to the making of these pups, Lamb has addressed comments in the past saying in 2024, did Australians play God in the late 1800s when they began to eradicate the Tasmanian tiger? I would argue yes. Do we play God when we pollute the environment, accelerate human-caused climate change, or cut down the rainforest? I would say yes. Now, I don't know what it means to play God or whatever. What that argument is trying to make is that you shouldn't be negatively impacting the environment. Then I would say Lamb is largely correct. Humans destroy the environment and take control of nature every single day. Every invention we make is playing God. I mean, humans aren't supposed to fly, are they? But then we fly. And the argument's been made for quite some time that everything we do is playing God and we should stick to the earth and farm and live our natural lives. My issue with this, one, I'll say it again. They took existing DNA and they added it to existing wolves. So it's like, is it really de-extincting? I guess, in the sense that Jurassic Park did it. Although the funny thing is in Jurassic Park, a lot of people are like, hey, how come there's no feathers? We know dinosaurs had feathers now. And when they made the new Jurassic Park movies, they're like, they're genetic modifications. They got no feathers. Whatever. Sure. So these things are actually more like hybrids. They use the DNA of regular wolves, but they were combined with direwolf DNA. So that is something particularly interesting, which means, look, there's urban legend about the humanzee, where I believe it was like Soviets trying to hybridize chimps and humans to see if they could. And again, they spent so much time wondering if they could, they never stopped to ask if they should. Here's the crazy thing. In order to hybridize a humanzee, a human chimp, a human female must carry the baby. A female chimp is too small to carry the larger baby. So if they want to do a hybrid, they have to do male chimp material with a human female egg. Some have argued our DNA is close enough. It's possible to do things like this. And this is where I say it's getting crazy. It's not so much about de-extincting things. It's that when people open the door to this, the next step is going to be human genetic modification. And before long, transhumanism, human-machine hybridization, and other weird transhumanist nonsense. They're going to create viruses that can alter your DNA in real time. They'll inject you, and the virus will spread through your body and change your DNA, and who knows what that means? Maybe make you younger. Honestly, no idea. The door's open. I'll leave it there, my friends. Stay tuned. Timcast IRL is coming up, and we'll see y'all then.